Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Stoner's Animated Podcast. Today I am joined by JP, them, they, we here. All of us, me included.
Yes.
So today's episode we're going to talk about like Saturday mornings, the cartoons we used to watch. Of course we'll go over some of our favorite anime and stuff like that. And today we're just going to be chilling, smoking, the usual. So, JP, tell us a little bit about them.
So, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
I'm JP. I use they, them pronouns, and then I also perform under the name Them, spelled with an M-E at the end. And I'm a gender nonconforming, neurodivergent cultural worker, and I do artistic and organizational consulting. So I help artists develop. I manage an artist right now, and I just really enjoy collaborating with people and finding out ways that I can support them and use my resources and my access to support them to the best of our ability, so that we get the most nourishment from our time together. So I'm super excited to be here because this is another collaborative opportunity, and do two of my favorite things: talk about cartoons and smoke some weed.
Yes. So, of course, just to get it started, we're gonna talk. I like to ask people this question. Usually, I try. Sometimes I'm high and I forget. But for the most part, I try to ask everyone that comes on the show, what is the first anime you've ever watched versus what is the first anime that ever got you hooked? Because for me personally, the first anime I watched wasn't the thing that got me super into animation and like anime. But for some people, it could be that. It's whatever floats your boat. But what was yours?
I feel like it's either Pokemon or I had woken up too early and watched Inuyasha. Like in my brain, there's like a really vivid picture of Inuyasha, or it's just I spent too many times waking up too early when I was like 7, 8.
Yeah.
So it was one of those, and like the first thing that got me like really hooked. So I'm gonna say a movie first, Spirited Away. Like that's
Classic.
the fucking jam. There's ancestor work, there's spirit work in there. There's like losing yourself in the spirit world. Fucking amazing. And then I think it would have been Digimon. I have a Digimon tattoo. I felt like there was the second season or the second series where like the end of it they were fighting this giant building.
Yeah.
And I was like, the kids were disappearing, and I was like, yo, like the U.S. animes usually cut the shit out, but the kids were disappearing, and like you didn't know if they were gonna make it back or not. So that shit like really like I really enjoyed like stuff like that made me think, I guess.
Digimon was fire. Spirited Away, it's crazy because actually one time I looked up like what like the deeper like what was Spirited Away about and stuff, and it actually was supposedly showing like the children being sold into sex work and all this crazy like underneath stuff going on in Japan. And I was like, yo, that's a crazy, because if you think about how Spirited Away goes, like her parents just kind of like forget about her there, and they're like eating their fill, they're greedy.
So something about that is like the way I see it too now as an adult is like how our parents can sometimes be really capitalist and like lose sight of how they take care of their children. So like as I've rewatched it, I'm like, there's so many different things that you can kind of take away, but it's wild that it was an analogy for like people being sold into sex trafficking. Like that's crazy.
Definitely, like Digimon I wasn't so like heavily into as a kid, but loved the opening theme song, like classic forever.
Slaps. I had a VHS that I just remembered that I played the fuck out of because I started rewatching the series a few weeks ago.
It is so good. And then, well, for me personally, the first anime I've ever watched was probably Mew Mew Power. It's like, to me, it was like just like a downgraded version of like Sailor Moon. But I loved it either way. Like, it was like my favorite shit ever. And they're also remaking it, so it's gonna be so awesome. And whoever becomes the lead character is literally gonna be like on tour as an idol, because apparently they're gonna have songs and shit.
Oh.
So, okay. And then,
okay, Disney, but you can.
I know you said you do a little bit of cosplay. Like, what kind of cosplay are you into?
So I started cosplaying a few years ago because I was going to a bunch of like different anime conventions. Like, you go with your friends the first time, and you're like, I don't really know if this is my thing, and then you end up at a few other ones. And one of the first cosplays I did was like a gender bent Scarlet Witch.
That's fine.
Yeah, because the Marvel movies had just started coming out, so I did like her first costume, but like I didn't have a jacket, so like I threw a scarf on, I threw some cuffs on, some cute boots, all red, and people got it, and like I got to pose with other Scarlet Witches,
Cool.
and like me and my friend also did a Lulu. Is it Lulu? I forget. The homegirl that drops a teddy bear on the stage in League of Legends, and I was her teddy bear.
League of Legends from Larway.
Yeah, someone will pick it up, but she has a companion that drops a teddy bear, and I just walked around chasing people as a teddy bear across the convention.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what conventions have you gone to? Have you? Oh well, like I'm pretty sure you've been to Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to Anime NYC.
Yes.
I heard people are gonna go this year, but I'm like,
I can wait.
it's.
Y'all can get the first bit of Corona. It reminds me of that meme that came out where it was like, when outside open, like y'all can go get the first bit of outside.
It's like terrible because I was so like that in the beginning of quarantine up until like maybe this year, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Like once the new year started, I was like, I'm kind of tired of like I'll be as safe as
The
possible.
fatigue.
Like I was also in the house a lot, and that was like really rough being home 24/7.
It fucks with your head, yo.
But like I don't know if I could be around that many people, but at the same time, I'll also be catching flights. So I don't know. But on the planes, they don't have the middle seats anymore. It makes me feel a little better, like that. There's not 3 people sitting here. There's only 2 of us.
I hadn't flown yet, so that's good to know.
I like that. Like,
I'm glad that like precautions are being taken to even out.
oh,
the
you
space,
have
'cause
to
I
have
was
your mask
imagining-
on. Like you can't take your mask off. I freaking fell asleep with my mask on. Woke up. I felt like I was suffocating. Like it was very terrible.
Because it's that dry ass airplane air, and if you're not fucking drinking water through it, you fuck.
It was really terrible.
Conventions I went to. So I went to one big one in North Carolina. I think it was an extension of Anime Con, but it was like super big. And then I started going to FlameCon out here in New York City, which is the queer and gay Comic Con.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, it's organized by I forgot what they're called now. Geeks Out. There we go.
That's cool.
And that's been going on for 3 years, and then I started going to that, and I started volunteering, showing up in cosplay as Steven Universe to like do greeting and like help people in the game room. So that's my experience with conventions. And then I got snuck. I wouldn't pay for Comic-Con. I like worked it, and then like someone slipped me their 3-day pass on the 3rd day.
That's cool.
And I got to play Resident Evil. I think it was like 6 or 7 before it came. No, one of the remakes, Resident Evil 2.
So how long have you been going to Comic-Con? Because I personally, I feel like Comic-Con has changed so much, like throughout all the years. Like I genuinely remember having a lot more fun when I was younger there. Kind of one because of the massive amount of free stuff we used to get, and then also it kind of felt more like inclusive everything. Like now everything's kind of like rushed, or maybe it's that so many people there now, like. It was always a lot of people, but now it was like the last year was a lot of people. No, not well. I think 2019 was crazy. Like I was like, damn, it's a lot of folks.
So yeah, I think I haven't been going to Comic-Con that long. I think I started going as it's been commercialized. So that's the thing with different anime conventions. Depending on like the steps that they're taking to make it accessible to people, is the type of experience you're gonna get. So going to a Comic-Con, you're getting kind of everything thrown at you at once. And then there's going to be normies there that like watch Marvel, that, that just see the movies and like want to pop in.
I love seeing everyone geeking out. Like, personally, it's like my favorite thing.
It's a good time.
Like,
I fucking love it.
Everyone.
And everyone's hyping each other up,
yeah,
each other. And then if you see someone in the same shirt, you're like, oh,
right. It's like, oh yeah, we know the vibes.
It's a whole culture, yo. I fucking love it. I miss that energy. And the only other place I think I experienced that is at drag shows, and that's why I really appreciate drag. And
are they still going on, or how
yes.
did those change during the pandemic?
So last year it was all outside shows during the summer. You couldn't be inside, and if an inside venue had like a patio, you could perform on the patio of the outside. And then people just took over the streets. Like, I still fucking hate the thing with the streets. I'm like, are they paying extra rent? Because my life is more uncomfortable. But that's changed. I'm actually going... I only did outside shows last year. And now this year they're doing inside shows. I've gone to 2 of those. And drag shows are like my thing, my treat. Like, my outside treat. Like, I think you take flights, I go to drag shows. because it gives me this like sense of exhilaration. I get to see people I love. And I went to one a few weeks ago where someone was actually moving away from New York City, and I got to see all my friends and like a lot of the friends that I met from before pandemic, and like we were having our drinks, and I was like it really meant a lot to me that I could meet them a year later after the pandemic in the bar that we all met, and like have our drinks together, and
That's
like we
nice.
had that moment.
As far as drag shows go, personally, I've never been to one. So all of the information I would have from a drag show would come from television. So I guess one question I would have about that is, I feel like television sometimes depicts things a lot more harsher than they actually are. So is it that much cattiness that goes on in that world? Like, we all know they're going to exaggerate it.
So that's a layered question, because like there's a lot of stuff that gets like a lot of biases that get poured into drag that have to do with like how feminine people need to be, and that's where a lot of the shade comes from. So the less fishy you are, the less feminine presenting you are, the less recognized you'll be in your art, so to speak. And then people will use that to throw shade. But yeah, it's very real. And like one of the biggest barriers in New York City and like with drag being on television is that so many people do it, and then so many people aren't trying to uphold the value of like being nice to each other. They're just repeating everything they see on TV, you know?
Yeah. I would hope, one day in every single like group of like, I don't even like, even in the anime community, I've seen like cattiness and like the weird stuff go on. Personally, I'm just I can't do it for the internet.
No.
Me personally, I can't.
It's not safe for people of color, like honestly, like and black women specifically. So
even like besides that fact, personally, I can't bring myself to that level to like put on a show for like people who really might not even care about it, or like they don't even know what's going on. Like it's like, okay, I'm gonna do all this for what, the 10-15 people who maybe actually know about the situation and or might care or gossip about it to their friends after. Just unnecessary. But
very much so. And I feel like we do like that kind of gossipy thing happens anywhere we work as adults, because there's like this like scarcity and competition that we come across, and then our own bullshit comes into it.
But you have your group that you were talking about, and I'm sure that's about being inclusive and like appreciating everybody and showing support, and that's like the type of things I want in every kind of group of, I don't know what groups are called, like anime groups and whatever, but everybody needs a nice little support system, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like you can bring that energy wherever you go, and then so whenever you do it, it's like you're building that community a little bit more. Because you'll see the people that it hits with, and then they'll follow you throughout and be like, okay, y'all real ones.
That's great. And that's what I wanted to ask, like, what do you want, or what is your stamp on society? Like, what do you want? Like, at the end of the day, we all have a legacy. And we're all still, me as well, still trying to figure out what my stamp is or what my legacy will be on this earth. Like, what is the footprint that I'll leave, even just for my children? And personally, for me, I'm such a wanderer. Like, at this point in life, I'm just like open to trying new things. Like, I'm sure I'll end up being that friend that lives in Europe at like 50 something or 60 something and is just macking out, because I just can't stay in one place for a while, is what it seems like for me. But I don't know what that's gonna end up being as far as my stamp goes, but that's the type of person I am. You're doing like a creative thing, bringing people together kind of thing, which I hope,
And you are doing that too.
In a sense, in a sort. But I like the level that you're doing yours at, because it's inclusive. It's also educational, especially for people like me who don't know that much about that community, because at the end of the day, I'm not in that community. I am hetero. I mean, I've dabbled a little bit, whatever. But for the most part,
hetero too. Okay.
Listen, I appreciate everybody for what they are and what they do. At the end of the day, to me, I'm a weirdo. We're all freaks. We all get our,
Being normal is vastly overrated in the name, in the words of the late great Debbie.
I can't. So, what do you feel like Like with what you're doing, like what do you hope to be your stamp on the world?
I mean, I don't want to stamp the world. I want to stamp people's hearts, if I'm being honest. Because,
Okay.
like, my stamp on the world is, like, I want people to know that I cared and I cared deeply. And I did everything within my power to support people with my capacity to care and my capacity to support them. So, yeah, I think that's what I want people to remember me for, if anything. Because I feel like great things are happening along the way and we get caught up on, like, what that thing is, that like we stop creating great things on the way because we want that perfection, we want that vision. I'm like, there's a vision and it's very vague right now.
Yeah.
But every step, including this conversation, the conversation I had before here, is a step towards getting there.
I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
It's you know, like I'm a caring person to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
as you should. Boundaries are important.
yeah, like and it's like I care about society and I care about, you know, the evolution more of our just like mindsets, I would say, because like you were saying before, it's more, everybody's more about the hustle these days, the grind, and you know,
LLC
I
Twitter?
respect it. Like
LLC Twitter?
I respect it. Listen,
I'm
get
gonna ask
to
y'all right here.
get to
Get your bag. Get your bag.
get your bag. Like I respect it.
We love abundance for the collective.
But I just think there's different things for everybody, and we gotta respect that as
Yeah.
well. Like the only thing I can't respect is someone not doing nothing.
But yeah.
So I think, you know, as long as we, but that's the thing. Nobody's ever just gonna respect each other. It's just impossible. Like for some reason, it's just like unimaginable.
So I just, you know, we can only do our best to like not internalize other people's bullshit, and like that's where the boundaries come in.
Yeah.
You're like, I care, but like, do I care about what you're projecting in my direction right now? No. You know?
I feel that. So throughout life, because I know myself watching anime and for a long time seeing even myself depicted very weirdly, or
Talk
just
about
not.
Can you give me an example?
All right, so when you think, all right, so you watch Pokemon, so you
Yes.
remember I can't even remember Shorty's name, but she had like the blonde hair and the pink lips, and she was like dark.
Oh, James.
So yeah, first off, her, she's on the killer list.
Anti-blackness.
Like,
The anti-blackness.
That was crazy.
Mm-hmm. And then what was homeboy in Dragon Ball Z? I forget his name.
To be honest, I wasn't watching Dragon Ball Z like that, but I've seen
It was
a
the same
lot.
color
I've seen a lot of people like that just look crazy. Even though, okay, now we get a lot of better representation.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a little weird, but still better representation.
Yeah.
But you know, for other communities, I don't know how it felt not seeing like yourself depicted in animation, because I like now you have like She-Ra and that's dope, and that
Steven
depicts
Universe.
yeah, and Steven Universe is crazy.
Steven
Like
Universe is so good. That's a really good question. So like about the representation or the lack thereof as far as like queer people are concerned. I mean, I feel like I didn't watch Sailor Moon that or like I was just too young to actually even understand what these teenagers were talking about. Like Sailor Moon was a little too heady for me when I was growing up. But everyone's been writing about the lesbians on that show, and I'm like, that shit's been there forever. Y'all just cut it out. But there are people doing the work to talk about how sexism and these biases bleed into the shit that we see. And like, I had him is what is like the thing that I think I projected onto the most, him from the Powerpuff Girls, the androgynous. That's why my name is now Them. I used to be Hot Mess Everdeen, and you know, she lived a good 4 or 5 years of drag existence, and I put her to bed, and now I'm Them. And I felt, now I'm rewatching Powerpuff Girls, and that shit was written by stoners. But it's hard, because it's like you don't see yourself, so what you kind of have to do is like disconnect yourself from the fact that none of these people actually physically represent you, and kind of try and find like the emotional subtext to what's happening. At least that's what I felt like I was doing growing up.
even as a child. Wow.
I was like, that's not a white person, that's me.
Okay.
I was like, that's me. You can't tell me that's
So
a white
you were
person.
just already disconnecting the
whiteness from it.
right, just the color from the personality, from the actual like characteristics of the character. Like,
And like I wouldn't watch shows like Dragon Ball Z's because Goku's a dickhead, and like
Yeah,
that's like
Dragon
white,
Ball Z was fucking
and that's
crazy.
like I don't want to talk. You know, I'm probably gonna get people on my ass, and I don't engage with the animation community that much. So whoever listens to me and love DBZ, It's like the reason folks don't like DBZ is because Goku is like, you know,
the worst father ever,
and like whiteness, like he's like an uncaring white avoidant person, has no redeeming qualities, and like you're supposed to aspire to that. He's still the hero at the end of the day, even though he's done like relatively nothing to earn, you know, that level. So once you start to understand that as you get older, and then Steven Universe came out, and I think I was like 18, 17, figuring out all my shit, like my queerness. Like I came out, I think when I was like 14, 15. But then Steven Universe came out, and then it was like, okay, like there's these androgynous characters. They're not really women. They're rocks that look like women. And it's like, it gets you kind of thinking about how gender isn't real, you know? Because in this planet, in this other world, they don't know what womanhood is. They just present that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like that has done such great things for myself, and I try and use it as a tool to educate other people and folks in my community, friends, siblings, about the things that we're experiencing. Because they even tackled like toxic relationships in the one episode, and like I was sitting there and I was like, they're not gonna go there, they're not gonna do it, and then they did it, and I was like,
for me, it's like there are certain things that I already know are society constructs, and that's just, some people are gonna think the way they think, and there's like honestly no changing them. There's some people who you can get to be like, you know what, that does make a lot of sense actually. It is actually not that serious, it's not that deep. But there's also this weird thing that people have, like, where it's like they want to feel the way they want to feel so strongly, and it just has to be that way. Even if it's to the point of it does nothing, like it brings them no pain, no, like they lose nothing from just doing this one thing, but it like genuinely they just don't want to do it. Like there's just people who are like that. As far as genders go, like I personally feel like you can be whatever you want to be as long as you're not harming anybody. Live your best life.
Yes.
Be whatever you want to be.
As
like
an androgynous, like cartoon character half the time when I'm in drag. So
like as you should. Like if I had, first of all, I'm shy as fuck. It'd be crazy to me even that I be meeting people and doing this. It'd be crazy. But if I had the balls to wear some cosplay and go out, boy would I. And I would. It's just like there's just something inside me that's scared, and haven't came over that hurdle yet. You know, maybe one day. But
practice at home. Build up the cosplay closet little by little.
I just started getting into wearing like girly clothes. Like I've been trying things.
I mean, some cosplay isn't inherently girly. Like, get you a power suit, see how you feel.
No, I know. I have bought one thing, and it's gonna be like a kimono, so it's gonna be fire. Like, I can't wait.
Enjoy.
But like you were talking about being a kid and watching television and not like one, you were totally ahead of the curve. One, shout out to you because that's crazy. Like, first of all, I wasn't even thinking that even television when I was younger. I was just like, sometimes you hear something, you're like, that's kind of sexist, like, okay, and then everybody's like, ha 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 ha, you're like, okay, like, that's at us, like, but sure.
So, something that helped me with that is that I think I grew up with a single mom, so, like, I saw sexism left and right, and she was a young mom, too, so there were times where, like, I got really good at just pointing out the things that were just other people not minding their own business and their own boundaries. In human existence. And then when I was a kid, you know, I don't think I was thinking about it this critically, but there were things that were setting the seeds for me to have these conversations. And definitely what helped is Digimon, because like they had the friendship crest, they had they had different crests that symbolized things that were like points of unity, somewhat, and like seeing the way that those characters worked through these points of unity and had contention and had like story arcs that brought back the focus to what they were getting at, like the issues that they were having, that probably helped me a lot more specifically.
I think for me personally, it wasn't cartoons that did that sort of thing for me. My mom like raised me by herself as well. But it was more like seeing my mom do like what would be manly things, like my mom built everything in our crib. Like she built
They held it down.
Like there was nothing in the crib that my mom didn't put together with her own hands. We painted the whole crib ourselves. Like she built things like right in front of me before my eyes. Damn. Like I was just like, okay. Like she taught me how to ride a bike. Like so for me it was just like
but she held it down.
My mom was Bob the fucking Builder. I can't even hold you. You did that because there was a lot of times I was like, you about to put together what?
Keep going.
But that for me made me like feel like, oh, like girls can do whatever guys can do. It's not like a big deal. It's not like whatever they're making it out to be in like society. Because we were already getting to a point in time where like the whole like for a while we had like women working and doing their own, but like then it started to be a rise in like powerful women, and we got to
the girl boss culture. Let's call it out.
Yeah, it's definitely a big rise on like girl power, and just I feel like it's just like a power in general type of thing, because personally I want to see everybody win. Like as long as you're not saying no blasphemy and it's not like crazy disrespectful, I want to see everybody win.
So yeah, you're talking like the thing is like equity is being created right now. Like there's social change happening that affects people across the board, and women are pioneering that. They've been pioneering that forever, but as men continue to be the folks in power and telling these stories, and then women grow in power to speak about these things, men have to do something to correct this. And I'm speaking in a very binary way, so let me break this up. Folks of all genders have to do work to combat this. And what we're seeing is that, we're getting folks of all identities are getting better at organizing and talking about the issues that we're facing. Therefore, now we need power. Like there needs to be an action behind us just saying that there's an issue now.
And what would be like the power behind
Well, right now, I don't know if anything's happening in the animation industry, but like in video game, I know women are organizing. I know that there are unions being formed by femmes or femme-identifying people in the gaming industry. And if they do unionize, which is, it takes a lot of effort to do such a large level of organizing of so many people in so many different, France, gaming is everywhere. So, this is women from Canada, from North America, from Asia, all over talking about how these things have been affecting them and organizing behind it so that they can come with demands and be like, this is what we want. I don't think anything has happened like that in the animation industry, but if there is a strong enough base of women animators having this conversation, which I'm sure there are, or people one-on-one having this conversation, going home from work and being like, yo, these men just fucked my shit up. My fucking cartoon was, my female character was supposed to be 3-dimensional, and he told me to make that bitch 2-dimensional and bring in a man, right?
Most definitely. I mean, I just know about starting up, I just know about a few black
yes, the blurred groups.
Writing manga and starting comic books and stuff like that. So
Black girl nerds.
Yeah, that's what I've been supporting and following. And
women in tech. I love it.
I try to buy from black people as much as possible.
All the time.
Or just anybody of color, or just anybody not owned by big business. I be trying. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it be hard.
No, it is very difficult. It's hard to divest from capitalism when it's everywhere.
And it's always so much cheaper, but you do get a different feeling from buying from black owned businesses, color, just pretty much in general when it's not a big business and you're buying from a person who made this with their hands and put in actual work.
And then sometimes you get the actual interaction of I'm buying this from you in person, and
and you just know it always actually means something to them.
I love it.
So as far as shows that were on, so when I was younger, I used to watch the Kids CW block a lot. Mm-hmm. And I had Jackie Chan Adventures, and Jackie Chan was
shit.
So extra, good. It was just jokes to me watching Jackie Chan fight and go against evil, and it was just hilarious. I personally loved Sonic X. I was heavy into Sonic.
Yes. There's another Sonic series. I don't think it was Sonic X, but it was the one where he had siblings and like they were trying to save their mom or something on a different planet. It was like off the channel 8 or channel 7. I really enjoyed that one. It was just like really weird sci-fi meets Sonic stuff.
Was it like
that one, Sonic Underground.
Oh wow, this is really old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I started, someone put a Game Boy in my hand when I was 3, and I started playing Pokemon.
Game Boy was everything.
And I started playing Pokemon, and I learned how to read English and speak English from playing Pokemon and watching Scooby-Doo. Specifically, I remember Scooby-Doo helped me with contextual English. I watched a whole bunch of other cartoons.
I love Scooby-Doo, first of all.
That shit slaps, yo.
Yo, it's so good.
Oh my god.
Like, I don't know why I like that repetitious bullshit, but I eat it up.
Yo, Cyber Homie, I think, still scares me to this day.
He's weak. Well, that movie was crazy, though.
Yo, that shit was wild.
But, to be honest, there was not really much of those episodes that, like, actually scared me of Scooby-Doo, but it was just,
not the episodes, ever.
Maybe the older versions, like
maybe
when
it was because I was sitting with it for
79.
longer. Like the movies always kind of scared me a bit more. Maybe there was more production. They were like, it's a movie, so we want to get adults into.
I think when we're younger, like everything is a little bit more intense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're like, oh, okay, this actually looks real as hell. Because we watch some same stuff like early, like even now, like I feel like our eyes become like mine became bougie as hell. Like sometimes I'll watch some old stuff and I'm like, ugh, look at this graphics. Like these graphics are terrible, but it's still such a good story.
Age well sometimes.
But sometimes I can't even do it. I really loved Spider-Man, the Spectacular Spider-Man was like on Kids W. Definitely.
BX Queens, I don't know. I feel like he originally was always from the Bronx, and then something happened and it started being in Queens, or maybe he was always Queens and my brain forced him to be from the Bronx.
I don't know. I don't think he was ever from the Bronx. Like, not where he was going to school. Like, not with them white kids. Like, that was a lot of them.
Very much so, yeah, Queens.
But love Spider-Man. What else they had? They had the Yu-Gi-Oh! I wasn't heavy into Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, to be honest. I don't know why I couldn't get into it. When I was younger, I had so many Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. Like, my mom kept buying them for me. Like, I knew how to play the game Yu-Gi-Oh! And I never watched the show. Like, I was like, I can't get behind this show.
The show is ridiculous. I was just watching the abridged version behind while I was working today, because it just makes fun of all the most ridiculous tropes on the show. Because it's just a whole bunch of really bad tropes. Like, there's the America guy, there's the dinosaur addict, and then there's the sexism behind My Valentine. So there's a lot of issues with Yu-Gi-Oh! I enjoyed Yu-Gi-Oh! Personally, just because I enjoyed monsters being blown up and like fighting each other a lot growing up, and then I also played the cards because I always found it more accessible than Pokemon because I didn't want to keep track of the tokens.
Yeah, I don't know why, but playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Was like more fun.
Yeah.
Like actually playing it with like your cousins and stuff was like a little vibe. Like sitting on the floor, like, oh yeah, you didn't know it's coming. Like,
very that.
Definitely was my thing for a while, but I would definitely say I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh! About like 8. Like I was done, and it's kind of weird. Like sometimes I think like how smart we were as kids. Like I mean, not to say like we're dumb now, but I like to think like before all this technology we had to use so much more of our brains. Like when we played games, you weren't able to, oh, how do I beat this level? Like whatever, like somebody's doing a walkthrough about it. Like somebody will show me how to beat this step by step. Like before you literally had to just do it.
In the old days.
Damn, is that old?
No.
I'm
just joking. I'm making a caricature of what
oh,
we're doing
goodness.
right now.
Because, like, sometimes, man, I think...
we didn't have our phones, okay?
Yeah, definitely...
No, you had to ask your sibling to come over and, like, help you. So, like, there was... Or your friend who had beaten the game and, like... You know, I can't fucking play this, or you just put it down and get frustrated.
Yeah, put that shit down.
Damn.
I still do that.
And we don't know how to put shit down these days. Like,
no, I do that now. Like, I don't even, like, I've been playing Zelda for a minute. Like, I'm at this point where I was, like, so frustrated. I was like, nah, I can't even, chill. Like, what part of my brain am I even supposed to use for this? Like,
Yo, it really be
what?
that.
Like-
Sometimes I get, when I'm playing games, like you'll play platformers or you'll play things that have puzzles, and I'll be like, yo, I'm too high, or I'm not the right type of high for this puzzle. Because sometimes I'll pick it up and I'll be like, my brain is just doing it without me thinking.
And I can't hold you, like, I might be a little slow because Breath of the Wild gives
Breath is
so
wild
differently.
But also,
like,
Breath of the Wild does, like, it has a steep curve from what I gather. I couldn't play it for that long because of how frustrated I was getting.
Bro, I was chilling. At one point, I was coasting. I was doing all stuff. I'm out here. I'm winning. Like, I'm doing life great. I got to, like,
you
the
need
last...
to ascend. You don't have the part of your brain yet. You need to ascend.
Yeah, it's
to
not
be
happening.
Especially they perfected that water temple format apparently because now it's just in your brain now.
I'm tired. Like, the game got me exhausted. Like, oh man.
Oh my goodness. Oh my god.
But
White
man
still irritating us.
Yeah, like, got my money, man. Good ass game.
It's a good game.
Beautiful graphics and shit. Like. And then, so what, do you have a gaming system or what do you play games on?
I have a PS4, I have a Switch, and I have a computer. Right now I mostly play Overwatch and Apex because it like helps get like the anxious energy out in between tasks.
I can't play stuff like that. I think I have like bad nerves or I'm just soft as hell.
Valid. I had bad nerves last year and I couldn't play like at all.
Yeah,
so.
like I can't. I literally like geek out on Animal Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is
as you should.
Jam.
Oh well, no, I don't like Animal Crossing. It's like capitalism simulator, but like for children, you know. So I always had like a really deep dislike of Animal Crossing. Tom Nook, I'm coming for you, homie.
I'm here with your money, look.
No, they got you IRL too. Let my friend go.
What the?
No, she
What
said
y'all
I'm gonna
need?
give it
What y'all
up
need
right
first?
now.
Oh, they dropped like
Top
five.
the daddy. The hair went.
No, because they came out with some
Money.
freaking San Reno, whatever, Hello Kitty, freaking Animal Crossing cards.
I support.
I wanted them. I wanted
Get
them
'em.
so bad.
Collect
It
your
like
shit.
it frustrated me to the point like I was very like I felt the type of way
I
that I
worked at
couldn't get
GameStop
them.
for a few years. So like there were a few years where I just could get whatever came out
I don't want to hear this.
without problem. But also I'm gonna tell you the horror stories of GameStop because I'm on Star's animated podcast and there are people that would really enjoy me talking shit about GameStop now that it's dying. So,
GameStop is dying?
I mean it died and then like people are playing with it on the internet with money.
Yeah, with like the stocks and stuff.
Yeah. So like its corpse is dead, but like the internet's like, nah, let me keep fucking with you.
That's weird.
Which is funny and weird. But I worked for them for a few years and it's just fucking awful. I'm so glad they're
Working there
gone.
is awful.
Like working anywhere is awful, but like working at GameStop, they just like expected like superhero capacity from you whenever you were working.
I feel like every job kind of feels that way.
Yes, but you're working with video games. I'm like, are you like, do you want me to spend this much brain power at this job? Like, you're not paying well enough for what y'all are asking. Like, so the thing that they did to me is like, I was 17, 18 when I started working there, so I wasn't even supposed to kind of be working there. I just had the papers and like they knew me. And I was really good at my job. And when I was 18, they told me that I would make manager, and I not that I would make manager, that I would be supervisor. And then that didn't happen immediately, and then they moved me to another store because I was really good at my job, and they fired everyone at that store because of things that had happened. And then I helped fix that store up, and then mysteriously another store also has their entire staff laid off because of things that happened. And then they moved me to that store, and that was, I think, 125th. So I went from Dykeman to 145th to 125th. And then I ended up at 84th Street. And then I ended up at 84th Street. From 145th, I fixed it. I went to 125th in Harlem. And then I was at 84th Street, and the manager basically told me that, like, I speak white. And that's why they kept me there. And I felt gaslit in that moment. And, like, I didn't know how to speak to him afterward. Like, I just went silent and I started alphabetizing the walls because it was a black man. Like,
I mean, if anything, he was keeping it a stack with you.
but he wasn't a stack homie. I tried to take this stack. Like, I was like, are you telling me this because like we're working together, or you're trying to exploit the fact that like I can code switch? Like, but he wasn't a stack like ever. He was a-hole. But finessed that shit for years. And GameStop's wild. Like, the shit that you would hear would happen at those conferences.
What's happening?
I'm not saying anything.
Well, people are doing what?
What happens when you
people?
what happens when you put a bunch of adults together in a convention center with paid, drinks and like other things?
Oh yeah, okay.
Amongst folks
I thought
who
they
work
were
together.
like.
Oh well, there was scamming, but like I didn't pay too much attention to that because I was like, y'all, like if I knew too much, I would get fired. Like
Right.
I was like, y'all are doing whatever you're doing. It does not concern me. It is above my pay grade. So whenever the
Like,
chips
are they charging us like what's up with the cheap ass amounts for these
for the trade values?
Games? Yeah, what's up with that?
I mean, that's the gaming industry exploiting every level. Like, folks aren't getting paid enough at the fucking when they're making the game and animating the game and promoting the game, and then like they paid like $45 to $50 for the disc, and then they make $9 profit. I don't know, some bullshit. That's what they told us.
Whatever.
But it's
I
all
hate them
fucking
guys.
bullshit capitalism. And Amazon ate them whole, so I don't know.
I love Amazon. Well, I feel like I shouldn't love
Amazon.
Amazon.
Is like
but
the nexus of evil.
I know, but it's like
I'm canceling my subscription this year. I need to do one big order. Like, there's things I want, and then boom, in the trash. Then I'm buying black wood everything, hopefully.
oh my god.
Or I'll have my friends order stuff for me if I need it.
Oh my god. It's like, are you really giving it up?
Yes,
No.
I deleted Seamless because
I never
so
used
much money.
Seamless. What's Seamless? Who's
Seamless
connected
is
with
the
Seamless?
food thing.
No, yeah, I know, but like, who are they connected to? Aren't they connected with like Grubhub or something?
Yeah, all of
Yeah, I
them.
don't use Grubhub. Are they connected to Uber Eats?
But I just needed to stop spending money on food when I have food at home.
I get it.
And like, I need to stop consuming from capitalism when I can possibly buy something locally or not have the thing at all. There are alternatives.
I am such a thingy person.
As you should be. Like,
I
give
like
yourself
having
your luxuries.
things.
Give yourself your luxuries.
Like, I buy
I'm never here
like, I
to...
like books. I
Mhm.
love buying books. I mean, there's no bookstores in the Bronx.
Valid. And once again, like, you have to order your books. I order my books
Like,
too.
I literally used to go to Barnes and Nobles all the time when they
Same.
had one in Co-op, and then it was just now a Saks. I was like,
Ew.
who needed a Saks? Well, that's all I have for today.
Oh my god.
I am
We're
so
in
happy that you came by. I loved having you. I hope one day to have you again.
Oh my god, yes.
Loved having convo. Is there anything you want to tell the peeps? Anything?
Yes, if you'd like to find me, you can find me at Reina Project NY on Instagram and at Glitch Them on Twitch. And then you can also play the game that just released yesterday, April 2nd. You'll probably listen to this way after that. Called Only Bands, which features content and feedback and stories from other sex workers and content creators who have had their content banned by Instagram and other algorithms.
Wow.
And that's really fun. And you can find that on my Patreon, but I'm gonna give it to y'all for free right now. Onlybandsgame.com. Follow me on Patreon if you learned anything. Honestly, pay people for their intellectual labor. Tip home slice right here because this is a bomb-ass platform.
Love you guys. Thanks. You already know. Like, subscribe, pull up next time. I'll be here smoking. Maybe with a guest, maybe alone. You never know.
We love it.